What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we got Japanese Tuesday, so that means we're going to be looking at basically the Japanese format, how it's breaking down, what is basically being prevalently the best decks in the format. And let's be honest, the format looks like it's dominated by two decks right now, and we got some decent decks coming in the top 3 and 4th spot that's holding decently well. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So if you're new to the channel, hit this like button, hit this subscribe button. I do this every week talking about the Japanese meta and looking at some of the decks that are topping in this format. There are plenty of decks. We're at like 200 decks plus right now. That is really fantastic to see. Shine Greymon is still holding the highest percentage at 43 top decks at 15%, then followed by Royal Knights at 38%, 38 decks at 13.3%, followed by Greymon Tribal at 28 decks, but at 9.8%. So expect this to drop down once we get into April, boys and girls. This is no longer going to be valid. Then we have Balfamont is 24 topping decks at 8.4%. Then Ravemon is at 19 decks topped at 6.6%. Wish it was just one more 6, and then we would have had 666 across the board. Then we have Hunters at 16 at 5.6%. Alphamon at 14 at 4.9%. Red Hybrid at 10 tops with 3.5% of the meta. Mirage Galgo is about 8 top decks at 2.8%. Gallimon is at 6 top decks at 2.1%. Jesmon's at 6 at 2.1. 2.1 for Examon at 6 tops. Rosemon at 2.1. Blue Flare at 2.1. Bellastar? Bialstar? Bialstar? Bialstar, 5 tops at 1.7%. Crossheart at 5 tops at 1.7%. Mishindramon at 4 tops at 1.4%. Gamamon at 4 tops at 1.4%. Ragna at 3 tops with 1%. 1% for the Bloom Hydro Quartz with 3 tops. Then you have Ravemon at 3 tops with 1%. Kent Taurusmon, 3 tops, 1%. Grandis at 3 tops, 1%. Then you have Filth, aka Edamon Time, 2 tops, 0.7%. Anubismon at 0.7%. You know the drill. The rest are going to be 3% because they are one-ofs, and that's a lot of one-ofs, boys and girls. They have spicy moments, and as always, we get to look at it. We're almost at 300 decks, boys and girls. That's crazy for an amount of weeks, and we kind of see that it's not too terrible, actually. The Dominancy paired to Crossheart, paired to Greymon Tribal, where the difference in gap power level was ridiculous. It looks like we're pretty even battlegrounds. Shine Greymon is pulling ahead, but that's just kind of expected. There's always going to be the deck that is just on top. It plays what the players want to play, and that's what it's going to be like. We have Royal Knights coming up at second, but then Greymon Tribal, Balfamont, Beelzemon, Hunters, Alpha, and Red Hybrid equally having a good shot at it. I think about here with Beelzemon X is really where the gap kind of starts closing out for that third, and it becomes more and more apparent that once Greymon Tribal gets hit and April comes forwards, expect Greymon Tribal to start falling down a bit. I don't see it as prevalent, and it won't top as much. And actually, to be honest with you, I expect it to start dipping starting this week. And why am I saying that is just because once a deck is kind of on the hit list, people start siding the deck down and just go for the next deck. So expect Shine Greymon to probably start seeing more and more play because of the restriction lists coming sooner and sooner. As we get closer and closer, that's going to affect the meta data, and that's going to bring it down. So big information that way. So what are we going to take a look at? First off, the first deck we're going to look at is none other than the Royal Knights deck, because we haven't actually covered this yet. So I figured it would be a good way of covering one of the better decks. So the Royal Knight deck is a very interesting beast, as they say. Using Yggdrasil 7d6, this breeding area, your Digimon cannot Digivolve, so there's restrictions here. Your turn, once per turn, when you would play a Digimon card with Royal Knights in trait, you may reduce its play cost by 4. For each of this Digimon's Digievolution cards, reduce the play cost by an additional 1. Breeding, start a main phase, reveal the top card of your egg deck, place that card and all Digimon with Royal Knights traits under this Digimon as a bottom Digievolution card. Breeding, once per turn, when you would place a option card with Royal Knights in its traits in your battle area, gain 1 memory. So what happens here is if you get all 4 Yggdrasils, Purge of the Royal Knights will become a 2-cost option, which is not terrible. Main effect is you get to draw a card, and then you may place 1 Digimon card from your hand under one of your Yggdrasils in your breeding area as a bottom Digievolution card, then place this card into the battle area. Delay for the following turn. Play 1 Digimon with Royal Knights and traits from the Digievolution cards under the Digimon in your breeding area without paying the cost. Any on-play effects of that Digimon by this effect do not activate, and it gains Rush for the turn. So that's good to know. So you get some free value out of it. It turbos you a little bit. What I noticed is most players are starting to tech in Marcus. So start your main phase. It's a memory setter, but on play, you may suspend this Tamer. And then when this Digimon becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. And if you have a Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name in play, gain 1 memory. You will not be gaining the memory, but the fact of the matter is that one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. So this really can help out in certain circumstances. What do I mean that? Psychmon is a very prevalent card. So let's say they start swinging to security. They hit this Marcus in security. So it's on play, instantly suspends this Tamer. And all turns when this Tamer becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP. There goes the Psychmon that was kind of slowing you down. So Marcus is in a way a option card for you to take advantage of. Yes, it's only killing that Psychmon once. If they have another one, you're kind of in a bad spot. But that surprise swing in, especially if it passes turn in some circumstances, this Marcus could lead into being able to allow you back into the game to apply pressure. And that's going to be huge because if you are stopped by that one Psychmon, you are in a bad spot. But now you have access to ways to alleviate that issue. And that can lead into big plays as you get to finish off the game with your Omnimon by making it so, you get to delete your Yggdrasil and you get to spit out all your Royal Knights. And that can help out to win you the game. And they all gain Rush and they are just really scary to deal with. You have like Kentorismon, you have Gallantmon, you have Genkumon, you have Jessmon. Jessmon's a hard play if you go through Purge of the Royal Knights, but it gives Marcus just another option for you to work with. And all in all, the deck is really phenomenal. It has decent draw with Sistermon Blanc and Omecamon. That's going to draw you a card, but on deletion, place 1 card with Royal Knights and trace from your hand under one of your Yggdrasils and breeding area as a bottom Digievolution card. So this just helps out Yggdrasil speed up and making it all your big guys become cheaper and cheaper every single turn. It really does add up pretty quickly. So stuff like this does matter. And I feel like even with the protection of, let's say, even Alphamon here, so all turns one turn, when this Digimon would leave the battle area by effect by placing 1 card with X antibody or Royal Knights in its trace from this Digievolution card to the bottom of its owner's deck, prevent it leaving play. So because he's instantly going to put one of them by placing 1 card with X antibody or Royal Knights in trace from your trash under this Digimon as a bottom Digievolution source until the end of your opponent's turn. Your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 10 or more cannot attack a player. This just guarantees that Alphamon stays on board because it can negate your Yggdrasil's return to being underneath. So it keeps Alphamon on for another turn, which you sometimes need that extra body. So stuff like this really does help out, preventing it leaving play. So that's something to really look at. Then you have, this was kind of fun to see. I know Hohomon or Phoenixmon, Biomon is on some players' actually play style. They like to play the birds. So the bird is the word is that we're going to be playing Phoenixmon. So Phoenixmon really got some decent support in Chrissy and a new Biomon. Chrissy, start a main phase if you have a Digimon with Avian or Bird in one of his traits in play, gain 1 memory. On play, one of your Digimon gains On deletion, you may play one Biomon from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost until the end of your opponent's turn. So that helps out at the start of main phase. That's actually on play for her is really good. So that means if they even get rid of your stack, you instantly get a free Biomon. I don't hate that, and especially with the new Biomon being on play, if played by effect, by returning one Chrissy to its owner's hand, this Digimon may digivolve into Garudamon in your hand, ignoring its Digivolution requirements and without paying the cost. So this can get you right into your ultimate instantaneously. On play, when digivolving, you may play one red Tamer card. The play cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. What this basically does is, if you play this for 3, bounce the Chrissy that you had on field, this will instantly replay the Chrissy, resetting things up, and then you can go right into Phoenixmon, going crazy and ham that way. And I found what was interesting is the Shoutmon DX. So when digivolving, you may place one red Digimon card from your hand at the top of the Digievolution cards. Then for each Omni, Shout, or Z, you may delete something. But it's the fact of the Blitz, and then being able to put this underneath something might help out just for the on deletion effects are kind of really stacked and really powerful. Or getting another Greymon in for the extra security check, or even Cyberdramon, return one red or purple Digimon from your trash to your hand. You know, this has raid and retaliation. Just any of the effects really do help out in that, you know, like Garudamon for its on deletion. Does she actually activate? Add one card with vaccine in its traits. Is this a vaccine? Let's take a look. No, it's data. So you can't grab him with Akihiko. But when you play a red Digimon with AVM its traits, by spending the Saber, you gain Rush. So not like crazy here, but I think that's just a cute little thing just to give Blitz. I think it's just to make Phoenixmon a little beefier after swinging in. Who knows? It's not a terrible trade-off. I think it's just really useful. On all, the deck has potential. Is it going to top any events? Probably not. It had some spicy moves, and it topped some local. So I figured it would be decent to talk about. So that's about it. Then we do have another AVN deck, and this is going to be Ravemon. I figured talk about the birds and a Royal Knight situation today. So with it, we get Ravemon Burst Mode. When digivolving, look at your opponent's hand, trash one card in its hand. Then if your opponent has 7 or fewer cards in their hand, they add the top card of their security stack to their hand. And then when attacking, by returning one Digimon card from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the same name as the card returned by this effect. So that's really useful. By returning one Digimon from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck, that basically means any threat they have, if they especially been trashing cards from hand, or you hit something in security that instantly, boom, puts something there, now you can remove the threat off the board. And I think that's pretty cool for burst mode, you know, and being able to put a Keenan back, you know, where it needs to go. 0 for Ravemon, return one Keenan in play to its owner's hand. At the end of turn, trash the top card of the Digievolution, bring you back into Ravemon. The new Ravemon is pretty interesting as well. So end of turn, by deleting this Digimon that has a Digievolution card with Bird or AVMon in its traits, at the end of your opponent's turn, you may play one Ravemon from your trash without paying its cost. On deletion, you may play one Falcon, gain him from your hand, or trash without paying its, you know, cost. So that's really helpful. This kind of cycles itself back in. It kind of puts a small protection because now your opponent can't threaten your board. And once you start looping these Ravemons in and out of the match, it gets really threatening, especially because the Falconmon has, if this was deleted other than by battle, your opponent trashes one card from their hand. I think even this one has this. So all the Peckmons, all the main sources have a way of trashing one card in your opponent's hand, which is really going to help out. So that kind of starts thinning out their hand pretty quickly. And especially if you had like 3 of these in that stack with that Ravemon. Let's say they had 5 cards in their hand. Now they're starting the turn with 2 cards. And then they have the top deck. What in reality do you come back when your opponent's hand starts thinning out that quickly? And especially in a game where hand advantage and hand draw is so important that even going to 2 cards out of a 5-card hand really does hurt, because now your plays are limited. You're in a top deck situation, and that could stop your opponent's plays. Once you start manipulating their stack immensely, it gets really, really crazy, especially if you're just deleting by your own effects. And then your opponent's just like, what do I do here? I'm losing out. Yes, it's not recurable, all these other versions, but that's fine. You don't need them to recur. You just need them to do their job of trashing your opponent's hand and doing your Ravemon combo after the first one. You know, Keenan, the new Keenan is on play. Your opponent may trash one Tamer card or an option card from their hand. If they don't trash a card, gain one memory. Bonus turn, when a Digimon is played by an effect, you may suspend this Tamer to gain one memory. So basically, this punishes your opponent from playing the game. If they play an effect, you get to try to pass turn. So especially against Bloomlord, they start playing stuff for free, or Jessmon, they slam something down. Now their numbers kind of get skewed because this 3-cost Keenan can change up that memory cost, adding 1. It's like putting another Kari or Mimi into this format. Yes, it's a 3-cost, but now it's situational. And since there's not a lot of Tamer hate in the format, I guess you can lock things down and stuff like that, but that's fine. You can really punish your opponent by passing their turn. So stuff like this really does put in some perspective of what you guys think should be very interesting for you guys to play. I think this is very interesting, and I use Digimon CG Guide to actually gather this information. So if you guys want to check it out, definitely go check out the website. It's Digimon CG Guide. You Google it very easily. But guys, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.